In the summer of 1945, the world had been at war for nearly 6 years. The Axis powers had torn through Europe, Africa, and Asia, while the Allies had fought back fiercely. As the war in Europe came to a close, the final struggle shifted to the Pacific. But as Allied forces closed in on Japan, a weapon of unimaginable power was developed, a weapon that would ultimately change the course of history forever. This is the story of how the United States made the fateful decision to drop atomic bombs on Japan. The Pacific War had been raging since Japan's surprise attack on Pearl Harbor in December 1941, dragging the United States into the global conflict. For nearly 4 years, the U.S. had fought its way across the Pacific, island by island, in a strategy called island hopping. The goal was to get closer to Japan's home islands, but as Allied forces moved forward, the Japanese military grew increasingly desperate and brutal. In 1944, the U.S. began to make significant headway, capturing key islands like Iwo Jima and Okinawa. These victories set the stage for a final confrontation with Japan. But Japan's leadership showed no signs of surrendering, despite the mounting losses. In April 1945, the Battle of Okinawa, one of the bloodiest battles of the Pacific War, ended with an Allied victory. The Japanese defenders fought to the last man, and the cost was staggering. Over 200,000 people, both military and civilian, were killed in the battle. It was clear that an invasion of Japan itself would be a catastrophic operation. As U.S. General Douglas MacArthur and Admiral Chester Nimitz planned the final push toward Japan, military leaders began to realize the sheer scale of the challenge. An invasion could cost millions of lives, both American and Japanese. President Harry S. Truman, who had taken office after Franklin D. Roosevelt's death in April 1945, faced a difficult decision. Behind the scenes, a secret project was already underway. In 1939, physicists Albert Einstein and Leo Szilard warned President Roosevelt that Nazi Germany might be developing nuclear weapons. This led to the creation of the Manhattan Project, a top-secret initiative to build the world's first atomic bomb. By July 1945, the project had succeeded. In the remote desert of New Mexico, scientists had tested the first nuclear weapon, the Trinity test. The explosion was so powerful it left a massive crater and created a blinding flash that could be seen from miles away. The success of the test presented Truman with a new option: use this new weapon to force Japan to surrender. In July 1945, just days after the successful atomic test, Truman met with British Prime Minister Winston Churchill and Soviet Premier Joseph Stalin at the Potsdam Conference in Germany. The Allies issued a declaration demanding Japan's unconditional surrender or face prompt and utter destruction. Japan, however, refused to surrender. As Japan continued to resist, American military leaders, including General MacArthur and Admiral Nimitz, advised Truman that a conventional invasion of Japan could result in millions of casualties on both sides. The atomic bomb was seen as a way to bring a swift end to the war. On July 25, 1945, President Truman authorized the use of atomic bombs on Japan. It was a decision that weighed heavily on him, but he believed it was the only way to avoid even greater loss of life. The U.S. had 2 bombs ready for use, one made with uranium and the other with plutonium. The first bomb, nicknamed Little Boy, was dropped on Hiroshima on August 6, 1945. The explosion obliterated much of the city, killing an estimated 70,000 to 80,000 people instantly, with tens of thousands more dying from radiation sickness in the following months. Three days later, on August 9th, a second bomb, Fat Man, was dropped on Nagasaki. While the destruction in Nagasaki was severe, the toll was less than Hiroshima due to the terrain and location of the explosion. Approximately 40,000 to 75,000 people were killed in Nagasaki. On August 15, 1945, Japan announced its surrender. The atomic bombings, coupled with the Soviet Union's declaration of war on Japan, led the Japanese government to finally accept the inevitable. On September 2, Japan formally signed its surrender aboard the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay, bringing an end to World War II. The use of atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki remains a deeply controversial subject. While the bombs may have shortened the war and saved countless lives by preventing a bloody invasion, they also ushered in the nuclear age, changing the nature of warfare forever. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki marked the end of World War II, but they also opened a new chapter in human history, one defined by the potential for destruction on a global scale. The legacy of those decisions continues to shape international politics, warfare, and the global approach to nuclear weapons today.